Every trader has that moment. The screen glows, the charts breathe, and silence becomes heavier than any candle movement. You stare at your trades, your plans, your notes, and you ask yourself, why am I still stuck? You've read the books, watched the experts, memorized every setup, yet the balance doesn't move. The account feels like a mirror, reflecting back not just numbers, but your emotions, your doubts, your impatience. The market isn't fighting you, it's showing you who you are. That's the truth most traders never face. They think the market is chaos, but it's not. It's a perfect reflection of your internal world. Every impulsive entry reveals your anxiety. Every revenge trade exposes your ego. Every time you close early, it's your fear of losing control whispering louder than logic. The charts don't lie. They just repeat your behavior until you finally recognize it. But here's the question. If trading is a mirror, what exactly is it showing you? Is it your hunger for quick success, your need to prove you're right, or your fear of being wrong? Most traders never pause long enough to ask. They look for new indicators, new mentors, new systems, but they never look inward. And that's why they stay trapped in the same cycle, calling it bad luck when it's really bad psychology. Trading doesn't test your strategy. It tests your patience, your discipline, your ability to remain calm in uncertainty. The irony is that the more you chase control, the more the market exposes your lack of it. You think you're managing risk, but often you're just managing emotion, disguising fear as analysis. And while your setup may look perfect, your state of mind is the real variable that decides whether you win or lose. Let me ask you this. How many times have you broken your own rule, fully aware that you were doing it? You tell yourself, just this once. You justify, it looks good. But deep down you know, it's emotion driving the decision. That's not discipline. That's self-deception. And every time you let emotion trade for you, you strengthen the habit of inconsistency. This is where most traders get lost. They believe success in trading comes from mastering analysis, but the real mastery is emotional. The trader who learns to master himself becomes untouchable, not because he wins every trade, but because he never lets a single trade define him. He doesn't seek excitement, he seeks equilibrium. He doesn't fear losses, he respects them. He doesn't chase profit, he chases clarity. When you first start trading, you believe knowledge is power, but soon you learn that knowledge without self-control is chaos. The strategy is the sword, but discipline is the hand that wields it. Without control, you're dangerous, not to the market, but to yourself. Because trading will amplify everything inside you. If you're greedy, it will make you reckless. If you're fearful, it will make you paralyzed. If you're patient, it will make you powerful. The market doesn't create your emotions, it reveals them. Here's the paradox. Trading is not about fighting the market. It's about understanding yourself through it. The real game isn't on the screen, it's in your mind. Every chart movement is neutral. It's your interpretation that makes it emotional. That's why two traders can look at the same setup and take opposite trades, because they're not seeing price action, they're seeing their own beliefs reflected back at them. So before you look for the next system, the next signal, or the next shortcut, stop. Ask yourself, what is the market trying to teach me about me? Because every losing streak, every moment of hesitation, every emotional breakdown is not punishment, it's feedback. The market isn't your enemy, it's your mirror. And until you accept that reflection, you'll keep fighting battles that exist only within yourself. The truth is brutal, but liberating. You don't need to beat the market. You need to stop fighting yourself. Once you understand that, everything changes. Your trades become calmer, your results more stable, your decisions cleaner. You stop reacting, you start responding. The noise fades, the chaos quiets. You finally see the market for what it is, not a battlefield, but a reflection of your state of mind. And that's where transformation begins. You've seen this pattern before. You promise yourself that this time will be different. You'll stay disciplined. You'll follow your rules. You'll wait for confirmation. And for a while, you do. The first few trades feel clean, controlled, rational. But then, a small loss, a sudden move, a missed setup, and something inside you snaps. Logic fades, emotion takes the wheel. And before you even realize it, you're doing it again. The same mistake you swore you'd never repeat. Why does this happen? Why do traders, even after years of experience, still fall into the same traps? It's not ignorance, it's conditioning. You've trained your mind to crave emotional relief more than logical execution. When you're anxious, you enter a trade not because it's valid, but because it calms the discomfort of waiting. When you're angry after a loss, you overtrade not to win, but to feel in control again. The mind associates action with safety. But in trading, action without clarity is chaos. This is the invisible cycle that keeps 95% of traders stuck. Knowledge grows, but habits stay the same. Every impulsive decision rewires your brain to seek short-term comfort over long-term discipline. That's why you can know everything about risk management and still blow an account. Because knowledge doesn't control behavior, emotion does. Think about it. Every time you break a rule and get away with it, your brain learns the wrong lesson, that discipline is optional, that you can bend the rules and still survive. But the market always collects its debt. Not immediately, but eventually. One day, the same behavior that gave you a lucky win will destroy everything you built. Because the market doesn't punish instantly, it punishes patterns. Here's the hard truth. Your brain is addicted to emotional stimulation. The rush of entering a trade, the dopamine of seeing a profit, the pain of a loss. It's a loop that feeds itself. The market becomes your drug, and you don't even notice you're hooked. You tell yourself you're analyzing, but really, you're chasing that next emotional hit. And every time you feed that addiction, consistency drifts further away. Professional traders understand something most don't, that boredom is a form of mastery. They've detoxed from the need for excitement. They don't crave movement, they crave alignment. They know that true control feels quiet, almost dull. And that's what scares most traders, because boredom feels like doing nothing, and doing nothing feels like failure. But in reality, doing nothing when there's nothing to do is the essence of discipline. Let's break the illusion. You don't trade to make money. Not at first. You trade to regulate emotion. You think you're chasing profit, but you're chasing peace of mind. You want to feel capable, certain, validated. That's why a losing trade feels like rejection, and a winning trade feels like redemption. You're not fighting the chart. You're negotiating with your own self-worth. The moment you realize that, you stop trying to fix the market and start fixing your reactions. There's a reason consistency feels impossible, because you're trying to achieve it with an inconsistent identity. You can't build stability on top of chaos. Until you become the type of person who follows rules by nature, every system you try will collapse under emotional pressure. The problem isn't your strategy. It's who you are while executing it. So how do you break the cycle? You start by accepting the pain of awareness. You admit that the problem isn't out there in the charts, it's inside you. You stop seeking comfort in activity and start finding clarity in stillness. You redefine progress, not as profits, but as self-control. You begin to measure success not by your wins, but by how few times you betray your own plan. That's the foundation of transformation. The truth is, change feels unnatural at first because your brain resists stability. It's addicted to chaos. That's why progress feels boring, because your emotions miss the drama. But if you can endure that boredom long enough, something magical happens. The noise fades, the urge quiets. You begin to trade less, but win more. You think less, but see clearer. You feel less excitement, but more peace. And that peace, that's what every trader is really after. You'll know you're evolving when your trading day feels uneventful, and you're okay with it. When your biggest win is not emotional, but mental. When you exit a losing trade calmly, knowing you did everything right. That's when the market stops being your battlefield and becomes your mirror again. Because breaking the cycle isn't about changing how you trade, it's about changing how you think while you trade. Trading without emotion feels strange at first. You've spent months, maybe years, chasing the rush, the flashing candles, the sudden spikes, the thrill of being right. It's intoxicating. You tell yourself you love trading because it gives you freedom, but what you've really loved is the feeling of aliveness that chaos gives you. And when you start detoxing from that, it feels like withdrawal. The silence feels heavy. The calm feels uncomfortable. You sit in front of the charts and realize there's nothing to do. And that's when the mind begins to panic. It whispers, "You're missing out. Something's moving without you. You're falling behind." That voice, that constant noise, isn't intuition, it's addiction. The addiction to excitement. And it's the silent killer of consistency. The unprofitable trader doesn't trade for income. He trades for stimulation. He confuses movement with meaning. He opens charts not to find opportunities, but to feel alive. Every click, every entry, every exit becomes a hit of dopamine, the same chemical that drives gamblers and social media addicts. That's why he can't stop. Even when he promises himself a break, his brain starts craving that familiar chaos again. But here's the truth. The path to consistency is the opposite of excitement. It's boredom, repetition, routine. Doing the same thing day after day, without drama, without adrenaline, without the illusion of progress, just quiet precision. And most traders can't handle that, because discipline feels dull when you've been addicted to dopamine. But boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the sign you're finally healing. The professional trader has gone through that detox. He's burned through the emotions that once ruled him. He no longer needs thrill to feel engaged. He finds satisfaction not in movement, but in mastery. His peace doesn't depend on the outcome of a trade. It depends on the quality of his execution. That's what emotional independence truly means. Ask yourself, what kind of trader are you when there's nothing happening? Because that's who you really are. If you need excitement to feel alive, the market will always own you. But if you can stay calm, focused, and patient in stillness, the market starts to reflect your strength back at you. The goal isn't to remove emotion, it's to replace emotional chaos with emotional awareness. You don't numb yourself, you educate yourself. You learn the language of your emotions and stop letting them write your story. Here's something few traders realize. Your emotional system is like a muscle. Every time you resist the urge to act impulsively, you strengthen that muscle. Every time you hold your composure through volatility, you rewire your brain for calm. It's not one big breakthrough, it's 1,000 small victories. Tiny moments where you could have lost control, but didn't. Those are the invisible wins that build lasting consistency. And yes, it's uncomfortable. There will be days when patience feels like pain, when sitting out of a trade feels like failure. But that discomfort is growth in disguise. Because every time you choose patience over impulse, you're detaching from the identity that needed chaos to feel alive. You're becoming someone new, someone who doesn't need excitement to perform. Imagine this. The next time your setup appears and your plan aligns perfectly, your heart stays steady. No rush, no panic, no thrill. Just quiet execution. That's the moment you realize the detox worked. You're no longer trading for emotion, you're trading from awareness. You're no longer chasing the high of the market, you're mastering the calm within it. That's why emotional detox is not about removing excitement entirely, it's about transforming it. You redirect that energy into discipline, focus, and execution. What once felt like chaos now feels like clarity. What once gave you anxiety now gives you confidence. Because when you stop needing excitement, you start attracting consistency. And in that stillness, something powerful happens. You begin to enjoy the quiet. You start to love the process, not the result. You stop needing constant proof that you're progressing. You finally understand that success isn't loud. It's silent. It's built in the moments when nothing happens, but you're ready anyway. So, if the market feels boring right now, congratulations! That's not the end of your progress. That's the beginning of your mastery. Most people come to trading searching for freedom. Freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom from a boss, from rules, from limits. But the irony is brutal. The very freedom they chase only comes through the discipline they avoid. The market doesn't give you freedom because you want it. It gives it to you when you've proven you can handle the weight of responsibility. Discipline isn't a cage, it's a compass. It doesn't trap you, it guides you. It turns chaos into clarity, temptation into structure, randomness into rhythm. Yet most traders resist it because discipline feels like limitation. They think, if I follow strict rules, I'll miss opportunities. But that's an illusion. Rules don't restrict you, they protect you from your own worst impulses. Every professional trader understands this paradox. They're not free because they can trade whenever they want. They're free because they know exactly when not to. Their power comes not from how often they act, but from how rarely they break their own system. They know that restraint is not weakness, it's mastery. Freedom without discipline is chaos. It's like giving a child matches and expecting safety. You might feel powerful for a moment, but soon you'll burn everything you've built. That's what happens to most traders. They mistake emotional freedom for strategic power. They say, I'll trust my gut, but their gut is driven by fear, greed, and impatience. They confuse intuition with impulse, and the market doesn't forgive that confusion. Here's the hard truth. Real freedom doesn't come from doing what you want. It comes from doing what's required. When you wake up and follow your routine, when you journal your trades, even on losing days, when you respect your risk limits no matter what, that's freedom. Because you're no longer controlled by emotion. You're not reacting, you're leading. And leadership begins with self-discipline. Ask yourself this. What if discipline isn't the price of freedom, but the path to it? What if the very thing you've been resisting is the key to everything you want? You don't build a calm mind by avoiding rules, you build it by embracing them. Rules are the rails that keep your train from derailing. Without them, your energy scatters in every direction. With them, every move is precise, intentional, and powerful. Let's break another illusion. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself. It's about designing your environment so that good behavior becomes effortless. The best traders don't rely on willpower. They rely on systems. They remove decision fatigue. They automate discipline through habits. When the setup appears, they don't question it. They execute. When it's not there, they don't argue. They wait. That's not robotic. That's professional. The amateur thinks freedom means flexibility. The professional knows freedom means focus. Flexibility is random. Focus is rare. When you master focus, the noise fades. You stop reacting to every tick, every rumor, every post on social media. You stop comparing your progress to others because your path becomes internal. You realize the market is not your opponent, your attention is. Every time you choose discipline over emotion, you reclaim a piece of your freedom. You stop being a prisoner to excitement, to fear, to greed. You stop living in reaction and start living in creation. That's the true evolution of a trader, from emotional slave to disciplined artist. Because trading, at its core, isn't science, it's art, painted with restraint. The paradox is simple yet profound. The more structure you build around your process, the more space you create for peace. The more you restrain your impulses, the more power you gain. The more patient you become, the faster your progress compounds. The tighter your system is, the freer your mind becomes. And then one day, discipline no longer feels like effort. It feels like identity. You stop forcing it. You are it. That's when the paradox dissolves. When rules no longer feel restrictive, but natural. That's when trading becomes quiet, precise, almost meditative. You no longer need to prove